Hello. Welcome to this week's solo episode. We're on number 4 already. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for joining me. If it's your first week tuning in, I started every Monday on Talks with SaraNoSocks doing a solo episode. And what that means is it's just me sharing my journey. And so this is week 4 of that. Every Friday, I have an amazing interview with a guest. And I'm really excited for this week's interview. So without further ado, let's get to what I'm chatting about this week. I had a big fail last week, like just big. And I did a lot of reflecting about it over the weekend. And it was big because I made it out to be big. It was nothing life or death. I think a lot of times when we have failure in our own journey, we tend to internalize a lot of things. And this process has really helped me to take a step back and look at the larger picture and understand that it is, again, part of the process and the journey. And so it's not necessarily anything that I did wrong or right. It just happened the way it happened. So my big fail last week was progress. I failed to make any progress. And I tweeted out this morning, I do that every morning before I record these episodes. Sometimes I record them in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, but I record them live every Monday. So if you follow me on Twitter and you have a question you want answered, please don't hesitate to reach out on here. So Brett asked, how do you keep yourself focused on productive work and not fall into the trap of rabbit holes? That's what I did last week. It was a lot of rabbit holes. And I don't have an answer for how to stay on track. I have some suggestions. So to stay on track, I think what's really helped me significantly is having no more than 3 tasks per day that I need to have accomplished to work towards my goal. And sometimes that's as simple as like reminding myself that I need to exercise every day. So when I say tasks, I don't mean things you're doing busy work. I mean things that help you reach your larger goal, whatever that is for you. And if you don't know what your larger goal is, start there. So that has really helped me specifically. And I write it down. I'm a whiteboard, pencil, and paper person. I love my Notion and use it for everything. But it's very cathartic for me to be able to cross it off. So that's the first piece of advice I have. The second thing I would say when it comes to going down rabbit holes is that a bad thing? That's what I spent a lot of last week doing. And I was really upset with myself for the majority of the week that I didn't get said things on my task list each day accomplished. But I got a ton done. Like I paid in the States here. It was time to pay quarterly taxes. I did all that and I talked to an accountant. I got all my bookkeeping done. I did a ton of things, but I didn't get the things done that I wanted to do. Why? Well, I am working on putting together a new product. So it's going to be, I think, called the podcast template package. And I want to get that up for pre-sale to see if it's even something anybody wants and will pay money for. And so my whole goal over the last week was to just get a landing page up, some way for people to give me all the money, right? Like, give me your money. I say that facetiously, but not really. Like, it would be nice to get my first internet dollar. We talked about that last week. Anyway, that was my whole goal for the week and what my overarching efforts were all towards. And I mean, it totally failed. I went down so many different rabbit holes. I got wrapped up in figuring out how to do all of these different things in Integromat and Zapier and functions and APIs, and my head was exploding. But here's the thing. I know so much more this week than I did last week. And sure, I could have had the site up last week and I could still have it up this week, but it's probably not going to be up till the 31st, and that's okay. I learned a lot from going down my rabbit holes last week that will set me up for success as I move further and further in my journey. So while it was a huge failure in terms of meeting my initial goal, it was an amazing success for me because I figured out things that I would have never, 1, taken the time to figure out before, or 2, had the patience to figure out before. And so I think sometimes when you get in the nooks and crannies of no code and the different tools that exist, or, for me, sometimes in design, it's looking for that perfect Figma plugin or the new Photoshop template that I want to use. I tend to watch hours just fly by and end up not anywhere close to where I started or where I had hoped to be. But that's kind of life. You never know what the little twists and turns are going to be. So my advice is, I think it's unavoidable, and it's actually a really good thing because I'm sure that you're learning a ton of things along the way. So I had a failed week that gave me a lot of knowledge, and this week I will meet the expectations of producing that landing page. It probably won't be published, but I already have a very base site, MailChimp site up to capture interest. And so, we'll have pre-signups available there. So the wheels are spinning and things are moving. I think as long as you're doing something, don't be so hard on yourself. We're all just a little bit too hard on ourselves. Yeah, I think that's it. Short and sweet this week. Don't beat yourself up and take these little side paths and sit back and kind of take in everything that you have learned, and then make a tutorial, because I guarantee you, if you got down a rabbit hole, other people have too, and there was a reason you went down that rabbit hole. I have a whole bunch of tutorials I'm working on right now for Airtable and Integromat for just that reason, because I kept getting in all of these rabbit holes. I'm like, I can't be the only one. Why can't I find this answer quickly? So yeah, share your knowledge. So that's what I have, the advice I can impart on you today. I really appreciate you tuning in. And as I look to grow this podcast, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe, rate, and review. The rate and review, I know it's a pain, but it does help my ratings and it helps other people find my podcast and spread the word about it. So if you could take just a couple minutes out of your day and rate and review it for me, I would really, really appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, same thing. If you could subscribe. I know I don't ask for a lot. It does make a difference. And lastly, I'm taking sponsors. I haven't had any sponsors for this podcast, but I am happy to sponsor, no code products. So if that's something that you're interested in, or you know somebody who might be, reach out to me, send me a DM on Twitter, or, through my website, whatever you want to do. And that's it. That's it for me and the solo episode. Like I said, slide into the DMs on Twitter. I'm happy to help you and answer any questions that I can. Make sure you tune in Friday for our amazing interview with our next guest. And until then, bye.